Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new Jack Wolf Knives Diamondback Jack. This is the locking version of one of my favorite slip joints from Jack Wolf, the Venom Jack. I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic slicer, and overall I think it's a stunning piece. This is a nice EDC size, coming in at 7.58 inches overall. It has a 3.38 inch Wharncliffe blade of CPM S90V steel. It's going to be an excellent utilitarian blade, great for those fine precision cuts with the tip, as well as having full power from heel to tip, being that it's a straight edge. It's also going to excel at in-hand cuts, like breaking down cardboard boxes and stuff like that. Your blade has a small fuller on both sides. Nice top swedge that comes down to thin out that needle-like tip there. Well-executed sharpening choil. Should have a good bit of sharpening light before that'll begin to widen on you. As long as you don't put too much pressure back here whenever you're sharpening. You got a nice row of functional jimping. It does a great job of gripping the thumb. And just like all Jack Wolfs, this one has a full height hollow grind. So it comes down nice and thin to around 13 thousandths behind the edge. So as long as this one's sharp, it should perform outstanding. Let's find out. Being the Diamondback Jack has a Wharncliffe straight edge blade, it's really going to excel at this type of stuff. You have full power from heel to tip on this one, and it really helps that this one has a nice deep hollow grind on it. So as long as you keep that edge sharp, it should be an outstanding slicer, and it is slicing very, very well. Now, I've tested every Jack Wolf knife so far, and my experience is whenever I sharpen them, the performance jumps up a good bit, especially when I lay the edge bevel back. I usually put it to about 17 degrees or so, give or take a couple of degrees, and boy, they slice even better than they already do, and the edge retention just keeps jumping and jumping. So here we're not really trying to muscle too much into it, because I try not to do that with real thin grinds, because you're asking to warp that blade. But here I'm just showing that can be done, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything poking, prodding me. The contouring feels good. I did kind of start noticing I could feel the top corner where the bolster lock is, and where the bolster lock meets the cover scale. Not terrible, I could feel it's there. Being that it's a warranty, I did lift it up on the block just to make my life a lot easier. And I said that, being that I'm not testing for edge retention, I'm gonna start not cutting as much of the sisal rope, because I have a bad permanent blister that it hurts every single time I do this test now, no matter how sharp the knife is. But I thought it was slicing well. I find the hollow grinds, especially when they're sharp and have toothiness to them, just really, really excel at the sisal rope, especially with this 1/2 inch. Might be a little different if it was, say, 1 inch or bigger or something, but it's doing great. And as long as you do lift it up on the block, you can do this very easily. You could probably still get it done on a flat cutting surface. It went through the leather fine, but this leather, it didn't have a lot of rigidity to it. I don't know, it must have been like an end cut piece. So it was pushing it away. Nothing gave it any trouble. All these hot, dense materials, these tubings and this dense corner cardboard, yeah, nothing. You do need to watch where that tip is, though. That's why I lifted it up on the block, because you don't want to go straight down onto the tip and snap it off or anything. But yeah, fantastic like always. I already expected that. Yeah, great job. I thought this one performed well. It's going to perform even better once I put my own edge on it. I'll probably lay the edge bevel back some and these become an absolute laser beam. I usually put mine to around 17 thousandths, maybe 18 or 15 thousandths with an 18 degrees per side micro bevel, depending on what I'm feeling like. But one thing I can say for certain is your performance is going to jump up dramatically to about the third or fourth sharpening. Once you get to that fourth sharpening, you're going to be at your max edge retention. That's what I found. So now let's take a look at the deployment action of the knife. You have a front flipper and you have those small fullers. I was worried because they are small and they're not really wide. They did a great job of keeping them sharp, at least on this version. And you have that front flipper that you can do the reach around because this one is a bolster lock. You can also just do it regular, and both of them work fantastic. It's got great action out of box, and you can reverse flick just by putting your fingernail in that small fuller. It works fantastic. And you can also use that small fuller to thumb flick it really well, slow roll it. And being that you have that much exposed blade, you can do the pinch down drop cut if you need to. And of course, if you need to be discreet, you can two-hand deploy it. It is riding on caged ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent ball, giving it a nice smooth action. It's almost a fall shut knife, and you got a very light blade there, so pretty impressive. Let's touch on the ergos real quick. You have nice contouring on these scales, a nice full size handle. I can get all the way up to that edge if I need to control the edge a little bit better. And I thought in the hammer grip and the saber grip, it's pretty darn comfortable. Only time I noticed anything at all when I was pushing hard, and this is usually always the case with bolster locks for me, this corner right here on the crystallized titanium is kind of pokey there, but I did not notice it half as much as I thought I would, because for the most part I sat in front of that, so as you can see there, and this finger goes behind it. So for me it was pretty much good the entire way. I think whenever I bear down, I kind of back up a little bit, and that's when I kind of felt it. Not painful or anything, just I can notice that corner. But other than that, pretty much all your grips are fine. This one, it works fine. It does feel a little bit awkward because of the way this one cants down like that. If you scoot up some, you can kind of negate that. And if for some weird reason you had to hold it in the reverse gas station knife fight grip, you could easily do that, and it is comfortable because this is rounded over. Pinch grip cuts are nice and comfortable. These bolsters are pretty grippy because of that heavy blasted finish. So let's take a closer look at these scales. You have double-ended titanium bolsters, triple flute on this side, double fluted on this side. Like I said just now, they're dark blasted finish, which I think contrasts very, very nicely with these green anodized crystallized titanium covers. You have titanium hardware with a Torx T10 for your pivot, T8 for your cover screws. The fitment of the covers is flawless, no gaps anywhere. Very tight fitment there, nice. And as you can see, they even went with the crystallized titanium full-length backspacer, and it also has the green anodization to match the rest. You have your blind screwed mill tie pocket clip, and same color on the back side as well. If you'd rather carry it without this pocket clip, it comes with a filler tab with the same color anodization. This is considered a bolster lock, like I just said, and you do have a hardened stainless steel lock insert. The centering on my blade is right down the pipe. The lockup on my knife is around 30 to 40% or so. Even though it is flush with the show side scale, you do have chamfers on both sides. I'm gonna just call it decent to disengage that lock, because even though you have those chamfers, I can get my thumb in there, but being this is a bolster lock, you kind of come in contact with that cover scale right there, and it kind of gets in the way a little bit. I'd rather use this portion of my thumb. It's a lot easier for me. When I do it like that, I don't find it to be an issue. Lock up, like every locking jack wolf I have, is very, very tight. Now, of course, being this is a thin, slicey blade, I could probably flex that a little bit, but no movement in the actual pivot, and that's all I really care about. I was thinking this one was going to be a lot heavier than it is, because you have the tie covers with the titanium and then the titanium back strap, and there's no internal milling. It's just the milling that is milled out for these crystallized scales. but they still managed to keep the weight down to 3.39 ounces. I think that's perfection. It carries really well, and the only thing you'll notice is it is kind of wide, so it is going to take up a good bit of real estate. But even though this is not a deep carry, it sits deeper than a lot of deep carry clips that I have. Goes in and out of the pocket nicely. You have a good bit of tension here, but that's a good thing because this is smooth titanium. You wouldn't want it to be loose. It'd be sliding around in the pocket. Now, time for some size comparisons. Here it is next to the Venom Jack. As you can see, it's a good bit bigger, and it's just a hair shorter than the Jack Wolf Knives Bionic Jack. And it's just about identical in length to the Jack Wolf, the Benny, and it's a little bigger than the Jack Wolf After Hours Jack. It's a little smaller than the Spyderco PM2, and it's just a little bigger than the Benchmade Bug Out. And lastly, it's in the middle of the Ontario Rat Model 1 and 2. Now, being that absolutely no knife's perfect, let's go over my nitpicks and complaints. I don't really have much here. I guess one thing, there is no lefty love, and I always would rather see finer cut jimping. However, this one functions very well, so that's very, very minor. And I think I would have liked to see the fuller come out a little bit farther and maybe just a little bit wider, just to make it easier to get your fingernail in there. But I can reliably flip it, and it's easy to thumb flick as well. So that's very minor also. But to me, those are things that can make this one just perfect. But other than that, I think it's a stunning looking knife. It's got great action. It's a performance machine. It's a great size and weight. Not to mention, it was comfortable through all the cutting that I did. So I have to say, this is now my new favorite locking Jack Wolf model, hands down. There's only one other blade shape that could probably dethrone this, and that'd be if he did the K9 Jack in a locking version. Yeah, that probably my all-time favorite slip joint. It's just a very versatile blade. I love that blade shape. That and the Vampire Jack, those are pretty darn close, neck and neck. But I know these aren't cheap. Premium materials, next level fit and finish, and it should be a knife that you can hand down to your kids. So that's going to do it for today's video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave those down below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. The Jack Wolf Diamondback Jack will be available at dealers on 3/14/25. And it used to have times. I think it's now whatever time the dealers do their drops normally. So I will put links to this in the description. But if it's before the 14th, just know if it says sold out, it's not sold out. It just hasn't dropped yet. I hope every one of y'all is having a fantastic day. And remember, keep those blades sharp. Smile more. Hey!